Welcome to Nashville, our home state.
Yes.
It sounds like you've all enjoyed Broadway, our hot chicken, and so,
Yeah, chicken in the morning. I think someone mentioned it yesterday. That's a little bit different, but no, otherwise, I love Nashville. Nashville's one of my favorite places. It's just, you can't beat it going, every bar you go into or every place you go into, like I said yesterday, even you can come into the airport and there's another band that you can listen to. So, very good. Kudos to Nashville.
Yes, we love it here.
All right, so let's first just get into, I sort of made reference to how you've seen a lot of changes and you've been adapting as many auto dealers have been, but talk about first what you had been doing and why that needed to change.
Sure. So about 5 years ago, we really took a look at who we were going after and how we needed to adapt. We moved away from a traditional demographic approach to a more audience-first mindset approach, and that sort of targeting really did impact our media strategy, and that also aligned to who we were attracting to the brand, right? A Mitsubishi owner is a bit different. They have a unique mindset. They have done their research. They have understood our value proposition, and they've found us for a reason, and so we needed to make sure that our strategy aligned to that. I will say, as you mentioned, Lisa, the conversations around the economic headwinds, especially in the automotive industry, have been a big, concern for us, and we certainly saw that negative impact in some of our performance metrics about 9 months ago. While we expected those economic headwinds, especially with all of the discussion around interest rates and inflation, consumer spending habits, et cetera, didn't really recognize or expect to see the impact to performance metrics so quickly or suddenly. And when we were looking at conversion, it was interesting because conversions were happening. They were just happening outside of our look-back windows. And about that same time, Edmunds had come out with a study saying that a year ago, a car shopper was in market for 45 days. But now a car shopper is in market for 100 days. And so when you think of a challenger brand like Mitsubishi, where we're resource constrained, we don't have the budgets like our competitors, now we have to nurture that prospect for a longer period of time, more than double what we're used to. We really did have to pivot. Of course, increasing frequency, opening up those look-back windows, focus or changing or allocating near-market funds to more in-market tactics were all part of that quick action plan. And luckily we've seen the impact or the positive impact of those quick pivots. But I will say, balancing that near-market and in-market is just the problem that I'm faced with as a marketer for a challenger brand. It's how do you sell cars today while also building a brand for tomorrow. And with the economy and the state that it's in, I'm sure lots of marketers are asking themselves that same question.
Well, you talked a little bit about who your Mitsubishi client is or customer is, but has that changed when you're seeing this? Because you also are going more, I feel like you were very brand-centric in terms of before, and now you're really honing in on that specific customer. And has that customer changed? Are you more aligned to a certain type? And also, two, how did you need to adjust your mix in order, or just the channels you're using to be able to create that and really reach those people?
Yeah, so our target audience, our target buyer is, like I was saying, unique. We moved away from the traditional demographic, targeting, and our persona or our mindset is really defined by a series of psychographics, qualifiers, behaviors, and signals. And I think, with the way that AI and technology is moving, that has proven effective for us. So we do have that sort of target audience built. And then on top of that, we're leaning into AI audience generation, like lookalike targeting and prospect targeting to kind of help build out our audience through predictive. We've also, recently worked with Meta's AI tech, testing their Advantage Plus shopping campaigns, and that has shown success as well. So really, thinking about who our target audience is and how that's just evolving day to day with the evolving consumer behaviors. And I do think, with AI becoming more prevalent, that question of, who is your target audience, it might become obsolete or antiquated because that singular target audience is very hard to define.
Well, because you say you're very unique, Mitsubishi, but are you seeing yourself or seeing your audience more affluent now? Are you, because also your line of automobiles has changed, or vehicles. I always say autos, but there's trucks, SUV, whatever. But in terms of are you attracting a more affluent specific age or anything like that? Like, so when you're fine tuning it, because you even saying Meta, like that's obviously a certain channel that a certain demo likes. But what other channels are you looking at because you've maybe honed in on that more specific target?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have an omni-channel approach to our digital strategy. And yes, because of our more recent product lineup, we have been attracting a more affluent, more educated, very well-researched customer. And this, again, is what makes Mitsubishi owners so unique, because they're making a choice not to purchase, the more common mass market automotive brand like a Toyota or a Honda. They are really doing their research, understanding how our product is different from the rest, and seeking us out. And I love, that some of the buyers come into our dealerships and they're actually rattling off product facts to our sales teams just based on the research that they've done. And I also think that's why our brand affinity and loyalty are so high, because once you're buying into the brand, you really do understand the quality, the dependability, and the value proposition of us.
Well, and that's true. I mean, by the time anyone buys anything, never mind, but especially something like a car where you're going to really, it's an investment, you do your research. So everyone is knowing more. You don't necessarily even need the dealer. Because it's, I mean, you do. I'm not.
Well, we will always need our dealers.
I'm not trying to.
We'll always need our dealer partners.
No, Kim's not planning to fire anyone. But no, but in general, we're so much more informed. Consumers are so much more informed when it comes to that. And now, as you're saying, you're very omni-channel, and you went from I think 45 to 100 days for the purchase. So how are you have to be very specific to not only attract the attention in all the noise with all the competition, but then keep them for that longer journey. So how are you able to maintain that?
Yeah, that is a tough one. So we're doing that in two ways: personalization, and then leaning into consumer behaviors. As a smaller brand with smaller budgets, there are times where we have to make a decision: are we needing to drive traffic, or are we needing to drive leads? And right now, we're focused on demand generation, so much so that when I look at our spend, we're spending 106% more in demand gen than we did last year, and 200% more than the year before that. So that is a significant investment for us. But again, we're finding that balance between near market and in market tactics during a time where brand loyalty is very low and conquesting is quite aggressive. The other, way that we're capturing consumer attention is having a very robust content or communication strategy. And I know we've all said it, every platform can be seen as a search platform these days, but it's when I say content or communication strategy, it's beyond just being where the customer is, right? Or having a presence on Instagram or increasing your frequency. I really push the team to create the message that's going to resonate with the customer, and do so in a way that we're building a narrative with every customer touch point. I want, to be very intentional with our messaging so that it's not only personalized, but we're building that one-to-one connection in the channels that are, number one, meaningful, but number two, so precise that you can build that one-to-one connection with customers.
Well, and as you mentioned, it takes a lot of testing and seeing what's happening, but how easily are you able to, say, pivot and change and adapt depending on, as you're following this journey for your customer, and in terms of how are you adapting the messaging and just all of it? Like, obviously AI plays a big part of this, but are there other ways that you're finding this kind of information?
Yeah, we rely heavily on dynamic creative. We're always looking at our decisioning engine, our decision tree, making sure that we've got the right cohorts in place. Again, it's more about creating, multiple executions and seeing what resonates, because different messages are going to resonate with different cohorts, and so just understanding and gathering as much learning as possible is really critical. Dynamic creative, we also lean into personalized messaging. We have a few vendors, whether it's Zero Light, who we partner with on creating 3D modeled vehicles that can then be personalized to a user's unique configuration of the vehicle. We have a partner called Movable Ink that allows personalization in our CRM communications. But I think the beauty of digital is that you can test and learn, right? And so taking advantage of those opportunities and monitoring heavily is kind of where, science and art come together in our marketing world.
Well, and as you're bringing them down the funnel, so as you said, the journey is longer. Are your KPIs changing? Like, so what is the initial, like, what are you looking at as success?
So, ultimately, we're trying to sell cars and push folks to the showroom. But lead conversion is a really big one. And so when we're testing and learning, that's typically what we're looking at. Right now, we're testing and learning in paid search. Google is one of our big partners. We're testing smart bidding, we're testing PMax, which I know there was a ton of discourse around yesterday. But we personally have a great relationship with Google, and
actually PMax is today. I mentioned it, so you'll hear more about it today.
Oh, okay, great. And so, on trend. And so we have seen with all of the testing that we've done a 49% increase in our lead conversion. I was mentioning dynamic creative is another way that we test a lot of messaging resonance, and of course we're looking at click-through rate. We're also looking at key buying actions, so what type of engagement and behaviors or signals are taking place on our website, encouraging or enticing users to take the next step and actually visit a showroom.
Well, I know that you're doing a lot of different testing with AI as far as like with weather, I think, or like how. And you wouldn't think buying an automobile, I guess you do, buying an automobile in terms of the weather. If I'm in a snowy area, then I'm going to look for certain things as opposed to if I'm in sunny Florida. So talk about what you're using to really hone in on, and obviously that's market specific.
Yeah, this is a fun one, and it is our dynamic creative optimization testing and learning. So yeah, we look at different triggers or signals, such as weather. So if a user is experiencing snow conditions in their zip code, we can trigger a snow message to them, snow imagery, and of course highlight a feature benefit of the vehicle that's related to snow. We could talk about our four-wheel drive proprietary system and how great it handles, or we can serve our safety accolade and just see which message gets the click. So those are some of the ways that we're testing.
You also, during the pandemic, you started with, or maybe even before the pandemic, and you were fortunate, so you actually did well during the pandemic. But ClickShop, and then how is that, talk about what that is and how that's evolved since then.
ClickShop is our digital retail platform. So a user can come to our website, configure or build the vehicle that they want down to the trim, accessories, color, interior, and then get penny perfect pricing based on the based on the build. Then they can find that vehicle down to the VIN level at whatever dealership that they prefer. And we've just released our new phase of ClickShop, which we're calling ClickShop 2.0, which now introduces pre-qualification. So once you get that vehicle that you've built, you know exactly where it is. You could simply, with a click of a button, get pre-qualified for the vehicle. You know, you understand what you're getting financed for, and then you're simply going to the dealership to finish the transaction and pick up your vehicle. So, you know, you're spending less time at the dealership, which is great because time is so valuable. And we're seeing that, you know, this is what customers want. This is what consumers expect, especially, you know, in the digital and e-com era that we're in. We, on the first day of launch, saw a sale on day one. And so, you know, there was a remark yesterday of, you know, now you can buy a car online with the click of a button. And I didn't hear too much, you know, noise or, you know, cheers for that.
I think it was more no. At the time, it was fear, but I guess it's not.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see, you know, how consumer adoption of this one click to buy cars pans out over the next few years, because it's certainly a, like, watch this space as more and more OEMs or automakers come on board with digital retail solutions.
Well, and also I think everyone needs to kind of dread a little bit going, because you're like, okay, I got to get ready for the battle. It's going to be the dealer's going to try to get more money, and then they say, oh, let me see if I can bring it down. And, you know, like, but I feel like you're not finding that anymore, because we're, as a consumer, too informed with what we need to pay, no more, and this is what we want to get, and we just go in there and say, boom, 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 or we say it online, and it's a done deal.
Right, we're offering consumers choice, right? If they want that you know, hands-off approach to purchasing a vehicle, then, you know, that's one option. Others like to kick the tires. They like to go into the showrooms and, you know, talk through the deal. And, you know, just offering that choice to consumers is so important. I do have to say, though, you know, when we have our customers go into our showrooms, like you said, Lisa, we recently won #1 in reputation, and then last year we were #1 in customer service satisfaction by J.D. Power. So we've tried to elevate the customer experience, not just online, but offline as well, and that's been a huge factor to our success.
Well, that's what I was curious about. Do you find that, I think getting your ducks in a row beforehand makes sense, but when you're buying such a, you know, big product or expensive, you're spending a lot of money, are you finding people more wanting that combination, or is it just you have this group that wants to do it all digital, come in, drive out? Or is that split where you still need that interaction, you want that to make the final decision?
You know, it's a split. And I believe, you know, we're seeing that slow shift from wanting a more traditional experience to more adopters, you know, leaning towards the online route. Which is why, you know, we wanted to launch ClickShop 2.0 to get that in front of the consumers who want that option. But again, right, we're constantly, watching consumer behaviors, and we want to make sure that we're anticipating their needs. And so thinking through how we can be more innovative to enhance their customer experience is top of mind for us.
Well, you mentioned Google, and obviously we're going to hear more about that today, but how important are partnerships with Google and other companies like that for Mitsubishi, especially, as you said, a challenger brand?
Right. Partnerships with high-profile, partners, collaborations are crucial because, we are a challenger brand, and the good thing about the partnership is typically, we can be more nimble. We can get things into market quicker than the competition, and so we can act as an incubator or a, pilot, or, test some new product. We can even, do case studies as partners, and so it's a beneficial partnership for both of us.
Can you be specific? I know you did something with Google for YouTube.
Yes, so when we were launching the Outlander plug-in hybrid about a year ago, we looked at who the target buyer was, and like I was saying, our owners are so unique in that they are highly educated, very well researched, and just hungry for more information. And so when we had the North American debut of the vehicle, I thought, let's meet the customer where they're already doing the research, which is in YouTube. So we reached out to Google and together concepted a 20-minute show in which we would highlight all of the feature benefits of the vehicle. It would be information-packed because, again, that's the type of content that would resonate with this target audience. Then Google had a beta product. It was a live stream in the YouTube masthead. And for the North American debut of a vehicle, that could be considered risky, but we went for it because we like to push the envelope, and we see ourselves as innovative, and we like taking risks. And so we went ahead and live streamed that 20-minute show through YouTube's masthead, and the results were fantastic. We surpassed our daily video view goal by 106%. We saw our website traffic and engagement increase, and then our vehicle reservation goal was surpassed by 9 times.
Wow.
So we were so thrilled with the results, but also, we're happy that we were able to take advantage of that beta test opportunity with our partners at Google and YouTube.
Well, so I'm going to open it up to you guys, but I want to ask, when you see that kind of success, but as, again, we keep going back to that longer journey, how are you able to track back? Like, when do you know that actually leads to a conversion? Where are you seeing that, so then you can really look at it and say, this is what's working for us?
Yeah, I think this is the one question every marketer gets asked, right? And yeah, we do some.
I'll have to be more original.
No. But I think, everybody's looking for that silver bullet. How do you know, true attribution, especially for a product like a vehicle when, it's a longer purchase cycle and a longer purchase journey. And so we do have MMM work. We're also, doing studies with one-off partners, whether that's, exploring clean rooms or things like that. But yeah, there's no singular answer, and it's many answers.
But when you see that kind of success, is it a given that, okay, we're going to continue to do something like it, or? Oh,
absolutely, yes. Yeah, if we're seeing, vehicle reservations, website traffic, lift in leads, conversion, et cetera, yeah, those are the main KPIs that we're looking at.
All right. Well, do we have any questions for Kim?
We do. We have one right here. Corey.
I was just actually asking him if I can ask questions. Who are you? I'm Corey Trefletti, and you'll see me more in a couple minutes. So here's my question for you. So what's interesting is you're talking about marketing attribution on the back end. What about on the front end? Do you have to then tie back to inventory management? Because you said that you saw 9x above what you thought you were going to get from a vehicle order. But I know that, especially in the auto industry, you can't just make a new car. It takes a little while. So how do you manage on the other side of this, the inventory management controls with marketing?
That's a great question. And yes, we have a very close relationship with our inventory distribution team. We also have a real-time feed of our inventory in our dynamic creative. So if we have a surplus of inventory in a specific market, we're pushing out, advertising to make sure that we're moving units. But yeah, that is something that we keep a close eye on. And, it works in multiple ways. It's when we've got to get rid of product, it's great, but we can also conquest in that way too. When we know that our competitors have low inventory, especially, we all remember the microchip shortage, nobody could get cars. We had cars and we were able to use that real-time inventory feed to our advantage.
Yeah, that's actually really, really cool because, everybody else ran into that issue, but you were able to jump on that and take advantage of that. And you already had that in place prior to COVID, or?
We did not. We built it during COVID.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
We have time, so yes. Jeff, I can always count on you, Jeff. You complete me. Remind us who you are, where you're from.
Hi, Jeff Halderman from Ad Media. So, little editorial correction though. It was my 10-year-old that was trying to buy the car online with one click, so that wasn't going to be cool for her to drive. So, talk to me a little bit about the shifting between Tier 1 and Tier 3 and how that's really kind of changed over the last 2 years or so for you.
Oh, that is a good question, Jeff. So, Tier 1 advertising is our national efforts, and Tier 3 advertising is our dealer efforts. What's unique about Mitsubishi is that we do not have Tier 2 regional advertising like other OEMs do. And so you may be familiar with, seeing regional ads in your area. Here we have Middle Tennessee, dealer associations. We don't have that, so my national advertising has to work a lot harder than other makes. And we've had a couple of very successful campaigns. We call them one voice campaigns, in which we're taking our national assets and personalizing them for every single one of our dealers so that we can bridge that gap between Tier 1 and Tier 3 and have a really tierless approach in market during a short period of time, typically around a sales event, so that we can amplify our voice together, but also, again, bridge that gap between national and dealer efforts. I think that's going to always be, a challenge when you're dealing with a national brand and then, 330 plus franchise owners. They want to advertise the way they know works for them. And, I'm trying to maintain a global or at least a national brand. What I will say is when we do have these one voice campaigns that are, tierless, we have seen such a great success rate with them. Not only does our site traffic and leads increase, but dealers are seeing the retail sales from those efforts. And so we'll continue to do that. We recently launched our summer sales event on air now, featuring Macklemore's song Can't Hold Us. So it's always like an energetic spot, very fun. Dealers love it. They're bought in. And again, we all win. When we work together, we win together. That's kind of our mantra.
Anyone else? Will?
I can get this out of there
All right,
for you.
Corey's got it. All right.
Mobile mics delivered to you.
Thank you. Hi, Allison with Jellyfish. So you talked a lot about varying KPIs by campaigns. As someone who's currently shopping for a car, I do a lot of information finding on Google search, but I haven't gotten to the stage yet, but I know I'm going to go in person to the dealership. I want to try it out. I want to speak to someone, and I'm likely going to purchase in in the dealership, not online, if I'm going to spend that much money. So how do you consider that offline conversion, I guess, like the actual purchase in your marketing strategies?
So we look at footfall. We have looked at footfall. We have also, looked at what we call UPS, but it's dealer tracked traffic in their stores. I think, what you're saying though is very common to the current auto shopper. They want to go in the store and handle the transaction there. And what I find interesting is that 3, 4, 5 years ago, people were going to 2 or 3 dealerships to finalize their purchase. Now they're going to less than 2. So we really have one chance to close the deal. And what I find interesting about Mitsubishi is while our awareness is low, we have some of the highest conversion rates from shopping to purchase, which means if they're going to a dealership, most likely that person is going to, go home with a vehicle. Again, that just kind of speaks to some of the customer experience best practices that we have in market, as well as, our reputation score, but also thinking through, we've got one chance to sell it in, and we want to get that job done.
Can I also just point out that MediaPost is also the only event you can go to that creates demand gen for the people on stage. She's in market right now, so you should talk over lunch.
Well, I do know you're from Jellyfish, right? And so, yes, we will talk later.
Yes, there you go. You're welcome.
Do we get a commission if, she does buy a car?
We'll talk about that offline.
Anyone else? All right. Well, Kim, thank you so much. You were awesome.
Thanks, Lisa.